Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to sail through life healthy while others are constantly battling one thing after another? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden ingredient in our health, one that might be more powerful than any pill or prescription: our social world.
So let me ask you this. When you think about your own health, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe it's your diet, your genes, or your doctor, right? But what if I told you there's a much, much bigger story to tell?
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to take a journey from the outside in. We'll start with the huge picture of culture, then we'll zoom into the family, and finally, right into the inner workings of our own minds. By the end, you'll see how all these pieces fit together to create the real picture of your health.
Okay, ready to get started? To really understand health, we need to look beyond the usual stuff. Beyond the microscope. We're going to use a totally different set of tools, the social and behavioral sciences.
Think of it like you're trying to solve a giant, complex puzzle. These fields, sociology, psychology, anthropology, they're like different colored lenses. Each one helps you see hidden patterns and connections, showing you how our social lives are fundamentally, deeply connected to our physical health. So now that we have our lenses, let's look at the first and biggest piece of that puzzle: culture. You can think of culture as the invisible software that's always running in the background of our lives. It influences everything, from what we have for breakfast to how we even think about being sick. I mean, you weren't born knowing how to shake someone's hand, right? That's culture. It's all the stuff we learn from the people around us. It's not in our DNA. It's socially acquired, passed down from one generation to the next. And this has a very real impact. For instance, some cultures see a big, hearty meal as the cornerstone of health, while others prioritize smaller portions. These aren't just preferences, they're cultural choices with direct, tangible effects on our well-being. And here's the thing: culture isn't static. It's alive, it moves, it changes. This quote is a powerful reminder of how ideas, both good and bad, can spread and go viral between cultures. I mean, the global spread of smoking is a really stark example of this in action. Okay, so from that vast ocean of culture, let's zoom into the very first drop of water that shapes who we are: our family. Have you ever stopped to think that your family has a life of its own? I mean, really, this model here shows how families grow and change over time. Each stage, from getting together to having kids to the kids eventually leaving home, brings a whole new set of health challenges and responsibilities. Your family is basically your personal health headquarters. It's your first aid station when you get a scraped knee, it's the academy where you learn your first health habits, and it's your emotional bodyguard protecting you from the stresses of the world. It's all of that, rolled into one. So we've looked at the outer layers of our social world. Now it's time to journey even deeper, right to the very core of our being, our minds. Have you ever felt your heart pound when you're scared? Or felt your stomach literally churn when you're angry? That's your emotions talking directly to your body. They aren't just feelings in your head. They're physical events happening in your blood, your muscles, and your nerves. And when our emotions are constantly in overdrive, it's like our body is running a marathon with no finish line. This kind of chronic stress can lead to very real physical illnesses. Our minds can, quite literally, make our bodies sick, contributing to things like high blood pressure or digestive problems. So what's your go-to strategy when life gets tough? When things don't go your way, how do you handle it? Turns out our minds have some pretty clever and often totally unconscious ways of protecting us. You can think of it like we all have a psychological immune system, and it's built out of these things called defense mechanisms. These are the little mental tricks our subconscious plays to shield our self-esteem from the bumps and bruises of everyday life. So do any of these sound a little familiar? Maybe you've rationalized a questionable purchase or projected your own stress onto someone else. Hey, we all do it. These are just some of the ways our minds try to keep us safe and sane in a pretty crazy world. Okay, we've journeyed all the way into the mind. Now let's pull the camera all the way back out, way out, because we're about to see how your specific place in society can have an even bigger impact on your health than your own genes. This might be the single most important thing we talk about today. There's a saying that your zip code can be more important than your genetic code when it comes to your health, and the science backs it up. A person's social class is one of the most powerful predictors of how long and how well they will live. So how do we actually know this? Well, scientists have tools for it. Take a look at this. This is an example of a scale they use to measure social class. It's not just about money. They look at a combination of things, like your education, your job, and your income, to calculate a score.
And that score places you on a kind of socioeconomic ladder. And here's where it gets really, really clear. When you map health data against that ladder, you see an undeniable pattern. The lower you are on the social ladder, the higher your risk of sickness, and sadly, the shorter your life expectancy. Just think about your own community for a second. Can you see this pattern playing out?
You see, social class is like this powerful current. It can either carry you toward good health or it can pull you under. And it's not just about what's in your bank account. It's about the opportunities you have, the daily stress you face, and the resources you can access. Recognizing this is absolutely the first step to creating policies that give everyone a fair shot at a healthy life.
So, what have we learned? Well, we've seen that our health is kind of like a masterpiece. It's painted with the broad strokes of our culture, it's sketched by the intimate hands of our family, and it's shaded in by the deep emotions of our own minds. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important question. If our social world has the power to make us sick, doesn't that also mean we have the power to redesign it to make us well? So what can you do in your own life and in your own community to help build a healthier world for everyone?